The Bible says, for he who's been forgiven much, loves much. You know what? That separates us from a lot of other people. A lot of other people came up with Christian tradition. A lot of other people came up in a Christian family. But many of you were not brought up that way. Many of us, actually I was, but I didn't understand it at first, but actually God began to reveal himself firsthand to me. But there's many of you that never got the opportunity to know the gospel till later on, and God reached out with his sovereign hand and picked you out and looked at you and says, I can make something out of you. You're the unlikely candidate that I've been looking for. You may say, well, I'm already in ministry, Pastor. I've already been chosen. But sometimes I still feel weak. Join the club. Every one of us feel weak. And this is not just for the first timer. This is not just for those that haven't found their calling. This isn't just for those that are now functioning in ministry, but it's for everyone. Many times we will go through a period of weakness where we'll feel so depleted, so diluted in faith. We will not feel like even taking an extra step. But God says that's the time when you fall upon your knees. Remember what it's really all about. Knowing that he's your source, he's your strength, he's your power, and he is the one that's going to make you strong. It's not in your own strength that we conquer giants. It's in the strength and the power of Jesus Christ. You see, while David was out in the shepherd's field, God was preparing a lion for him. He killed the lion. He killed the bear, only to prepare him for the big giant. And that giant was also a stepping stone into his kingdom. See, meanwhile, the Bible says in verse 41 of the Bible, it says here, meanwhile, the Philistines with his shield and bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was a little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, am I a dog that you come with me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. Then David said to the Philistine, this little boy, imagine this, the little boy, teenager, with no armor on because he couldn't fit. He comes and he says to the Philistine, you come against me with a sword and with a spear and a javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down, and guess what? I'm going to cut your head off too. He didn't want to stop with that. This kid was full of faith. This kid had some wings. This kid knew his God. This kid understood that God is his strength, and God is his fortress, and God is his power. That he don't come with just a sling, but he comes in the almighty power of God. And sometimes when you go against the enemy, don't think that you're alone. It's not you on your own, but it's God inside you helping you overcome the enemy, overcome the obstacles, overcome the opposition. So when you're weak, we got to flip that. Ooh, I'm getting stronger.